Hello everybody, welcome to G4G News here on G4G. Again, much like the Marvel Heroes video that I did last night, even though this one is game specific, I'm still going to call it news because it's actually not active yet. So consider this precognition, like that Tom Cruise movie. And I'm going to precog that there's a lot of fucking hate coming Netmarble's way. Thanks to the patch notes. So, let's go ahead and jump right in after I do a few alliance-y stuff over here. So, my background wallpaper is brought to you by Digital Blasphemy. Really cool site. Check it out if you like good wallpapers like this. You could get a renewing yearly subscription for them. Pretty cheap. I believe there's a lifetime membership. This is not affiliated with them in any way. This is not a paid spot. It's just I happen to really like Digital Blasphemy's wallpapers. So, in case you have not heard, the patch notes are out for 3.6. And I'm going to go over them over here and kind of explain what is going on and talk to you about this and why you absolutely need to drop what you are doing and let them know in some way, shape, or form that you are not happy with this. Now, apparently there is a petition that is out there. Let's see if this will show the details. I will put a link in the description. Okay, so here it is. Already it has 5,603 signatures for it. Blue Marvel is awarded as a 6-star for completing Story Mission Chapter 13.8. Okay. Blue Marvel's biometric data can be obtained from the Ultimate Hero Chest available in the store. Ant-Man, not to be confused with Ant-Man, and Nova can also be obtained from the Ultimate Hero Chest in the store. This Hero Chest is purchased with premium currency, so crystals is going to be the way to go. Alright, so as you can imagine, this is essentially loot boxing. Loot boxing is ridiculously popular in media right now thanks to Electronic Arts' Star Wars Battlefront 2 debacle that they had several weeks ago that is still continuing. If you're not aware of this, and I actually need to do a news video on that because there was a comment made about that scenario that absolutely needs to be refuted because it is incredibly short-sighted, so stay tuned to the channel for that. But in regards to Marvel Future Fight over here, essentially what they're saying is that, you know, we've had free-to-play characters and we've had paywall characters. So if you want to talk about a free-to-play character, that is anybody that you could earn here through the story. So for example, Thor, or Volstagg, or Fandral, or Helya, or Ulrich, or anybody over here. These are your free-to-play characters. Even shifters are free-to-play characters. You simply just do the mission in which the shifter shows up. So over here, Spider-Gwen, is it, who may show up on these? I think it is. No, not Spider-Gwen. Gwenpool. So Gwenpool might show up as a shifter in these. So again, free-to-play. Now, a paywall character, on the other hand, that's somebody that you have to use your bio sub for. So, examples of that would be Carnage, Enchantress, Valkyrie, who I recently T2'd. That would be an example of a paywall character, whereas Heimdall, from the same exact patch as Valkyrie, would not be. He would be free to play. So you kind of get the idea. Anybody that could only be accessible through the bio sub, or by paying in any way, shape, or form, That's paywall. Free to play is anybody else. And like, for example, the game kind of throws Loki at you recently, so on and so forth. So Mantis was another recent T2 of mine. We can thank Mark or Twig for pushing that one. Enchantress was like my first ever mega. Like, she dropped and I megaed her right up there. And, you know, I'm not disappointed in her. Enchantress really does a lot of things that other characters can't do. Like, shut down Thanos if you wanted to. But now we are getting the random loot boxing character, which is paywall, but it is paywall plus random. So in other words, you would go to the store, somewhere on here, probably chest would be something like Ultimate Hero chest, kind of like this Premium Hero one, but the characters would only be available by purchasing that. Now, as you can see here from the Premium Hero chest, you have some free-to-play, and you have some paywall. Well, these guys are only going to be accessible through the chest. And, as you can see, one of them you're able to get through the story, but then to further that person, you have to go through the chest. This was being investigated as gambling in the country of Belgium, and it was literally declared as gambling in the state of Hawaii in the United States. So this is the absolute dumb fuckingest thing that Netmarble could possibly do at this point in time. This is about as dumb and as hot of a topic as standing with a sandwich board placard sign in the center of Times Square in New York City with your sign saying, "I like pedophilia and sexual misconduct." That is how bad this is to do right now. I mean, first of all, this is bad in general to do, okay? You get a lot of people who are not particularly thrilled when a character gets paywalled in this particular game. But you know what? Honestly, it's one of those things that you kind of have to live with. We've lived with it in this game. We know what's coming. We all groan and punch the arm of the guy next to us and be like, fuck, they did it again. But we expect it in this game, and we've generally been accepting of it, and people eventually do come around and they work their carnages and everything like that, and it gets there. People always tell you, oh man, you got to work on your carnage, you got to get this, you got to get that. And honestly, if you can hold out long enough, and if you could wait long enough, they will get replaced. Like, you don't necessarily have to do carnage anymore, even for combat supervillain day. You know, there will eventually be ways around it. You're probably going to lose out on a really long time of a #1 character for a mode, but you can maybe focus on anything else for a while and hope that a replacement comes along that's more accessible. This, however, with the loot boxing, is paywall plus random equals absolute bullshit, and it is the wrongest thing to do right now. What is going on with Electronic Arts' Star Wars Battlefront 2 has spun so violently out of control that major media sources are covering the issue, including like the New York Times, Forbes. It's talked about on Wall Street. People were recommending, like, don't get stock in EA right now because this could be bad. They have people within EA saying, like, don't worry about this, we're not going to take a hit on the stocks and everything like that. It garnered the absolute most negatively downvoted thread in Reddit history, and the game is getting considered to be a flop. Even if you discount the debacle, it's still not really even being reviewed as good. So to introduce loot boxing in a game where loot boxing has never existed, and it's not passive loot boxing like, say, Overwatch or Heroes of the Storm, where we're talking about cosmetics, You are up Schitt's Creek without a paddle. Like, forget not having a paddle. You are up Schitt's Creek with a boat that will dissolve in water. Literally, your boat is toilet paper, and you are watching it fall apart in the middle of the river with no shore in sight. That's how bad this is going to go over. And there has been a clarion call to go ahead and basically not do anything with this game anymore. Just sit there and say, you know what? I quit. Like, I won't spend a dime. I'm going to protest this. I'm going to give it negative reviews. You're, like, not going to get another bio sub. I'm not going to get another crystal sub. You're not getting my money. Go fuck off. Like, that is what is happening now. So how can you get involved? Well, you could go ahead and sign the petition, where the link will be in the description. You can also go to the app store of your choice, be it iOS or be it Android, and leave negative reviews. So what can you do about that? Well, iOS, you could probably go and do it right now. On Android, there's been some debate. If you do it now, and then the patch releases, your review will get flagged as for an older version. However, if you do it now, and Netmarble begins to see the review crash, or the star rating crash, they might stop it before it ever goes live. So you're going to have to decide on this one, which you think is the better way. Should you wait until the patch happens and then go ahead and talk about it? Or do you want to leave the review now in the hopes that enough people think like you do, they see a star crash or rating crash, and they go, uh-oh, alright, okay, shit, we're not going to do this. Or, we got to do this now because it's scheduled for maintenance, it's going to get pushed. But, don't worry, give us a week and we'll have it fixed. Who knows, but see, this is a really interesting thing here. As you know, Netmarble bought out Kabam. Kabam was absolutely ridiculous with this kind of setup. Kabam is very dupe heavy. Your conversion of real life currency over to in-game currency is not very good. And a lot of people are very, very upset with Kabam and Marvel Contest of Champion for that. I hate them. I rarely ever spend money on the game because I'm so tired of getting 2-star Colossuses and 1-star Hulks and 0.42 repeating Scarlet Witches and everything like that. Fuck Kabam. Well, now it almost seems like Netmarble, who bought out Kabam, is kind of taking a little bit of an idea from their weaker sibling. No. Tell Netmarble this is not right. We need to join with others, get this word out, how bad this is. We need to reference what is happening with Star Wars Battlefront 2 and EA, and we need to tell Netmarble this is not okay. We don't want this in our game. It has never been in our game. If you try to introduce it to our game and shove it down our throat, we will simply walk away. And when they see that as enough responses, their losses from people quitting the game will far outweigh the loss of trying to put these characters in the game through normal means. And we could do it. Like, as gamers, it is possible because we simply can point to Battlefront 2. And that cannot be ignored. Other devs, other game houses, other software companies simply have to look at EA, a major player in the game, and look at what happened to them and think, my God, if it could happen to them, it could happen to us. No Man's Sky is a good example of it. Aliens vs. Predator for Gearbox. Gearbox was riding high when that game came out. The Borderlands series was hysterical. People loved it. And then comes Aliens vs. Predator, Colonial Marines. And literally, the gaming community just took a giant shit on their doorstep and knocked on the door. We didn't even run. We knocked on the door and they opened it. We're like, you see this? That's for you. No Man's Sky. We took a giant pile of shit, put it in envelopes, and sent it to the dev in death threats. So he opened it up, and there was a piece of shit that said, screw you, your game sucks. Go kill yourself, as a death threat. EA, forget it. They got every piece of shit imaginable. I mean, it was emailed to them, it was left on their doorstep, it was FedExed, it was put in the ventilation shaft. I mean, it was just bad. Netmarble needs to be told the same thing. They need to be told, not in my game. And, you know, granted, this does not pull in the major amount of money that some games on their respective Play stores or, you know, app stores get. But they will plummet off the charts if they continue with this, especially now when it is such a ridiculously hot topic. People have to be absolutely brain dead to introduce loot boxes at this day and age. If you tried to do this 6 months ago, there would be an outcry, but Netmarble might say, we'll have to live with it. To do it now, when the world is imploding over this very topic, I just can't even imagine what these people think. Again, you have to be living in space. Like, you have to be... Remember the old Christopher Reeve Superman movies? That Forbidden Zone, where the 3 bad guys were in prison, and it was like that glass triangle floating in space, and their faces are pressed up against it, and they're like, as they were floating away. That is how oblivious Netmarble is right now. They're literally Phantom Zone. They're literally stuck in the Phantom Zone 2 trillion miles away from Earth, and they have no concept of what is going on here, because if they did, there has to be somebody in Netmarble who goes, hey guys, this is maybe not a good idea to do right now, because, look at Electronic Arts. They're in a lot of trouble. Maybe we don't want that trouble, okay? So that's my rant, guys. I'll put a link up in the description to the petition. Try to sign it. Leave the negative reviews the way you feel. If you're both Android and iOS, maybe leave the negative review on iOS now and wait post-patch for Android, and maybe do it the second you install it, and boom, go review it before you even launch the game. And I would encourage anybody who spends any money in this game to not spend a dime until this is resolved, and chant, not in my game, not in my game, not in my game. Napalm Dawn, folks. Peace and out.